This is my final week leading up to autumn break. So we're going to make some characters this week. We'll see how it goes, and then there's going to be some downtime. I'm going to have some me time, some off time, and then come back for... hey, Jisp! And then come back hopefully refreshed, or at least more refreshed, for our autumn quarter. Of course, in October, we're going to be playing Monster of the Week. I still need one more person to play. We can go with 3, that's fine. But I do have room for one more, but I have to close the solicitation for that probably tonight, so I can get everyone working on their concept so that I can keep moving forward. What else? Monster of the Week is coming up sooner than later because we're already over halfway through September. Hey, Lucius, good to see you. Also, Iron Chef Lord, howdy to you. I'm sorry if I didn't say that already. But anyway, yeah. So let's crack open. If we close that, you can see that we have our good old player's handbook. Hi, Single Step. How you doing? I like the Skeletor. Yeah. I hope you're doing well. Hi, Bane. Like my father's come to pass, 20 years has gone so fast. Wake me up when September ends. Soon enough. Soon enough. And I'll get some time off that isn't me being burnt out or sick or some combination of the two. This is willful time off, and I'm happy to report to you all I'm actually going to get to go fishing. I'm actually going to get to go fishing. Building up my creature catalog. Well, listen to your wisdom. Oh, well, I'm glad that you are... I was going to ask, Single Step, what is it that... what's your current project? Whether it's broadcasting or if you're working on something else. Hey, Alkahest, that reminds me, I need to make a teleportation network of smashable mirrors for my campaign. Oh, the Skeletor. Just says, you only making player characters today? Otherwise, I think my old character remade as an NPC could be a fun addition. So just in our workshop, while we are going to be making player characters, there's a formula that we follow that the methodology for creating a player character is used for creating NPCs and villains. And when we get that far, I'll be happy to... Pardon me. I'll be happy to go over that. But I want to see how the character creation process goes in the 2024, so we're going to focus on that first, and then we can adapt that to NPCs and villains. On a boat. On a little charter boat, Alkahest. I don't know anyone with a boat, unfortunately. So I was looking around on some sort of a fishing charter site, and I found a captain in the area that seemed to have a reasonable rate. So I have it set up. Yeah, Mage. So not this weekend, but next weekend, I'm gonna go fishing out on Lake Erie. On the lake, Alkahest. Not a fisherman myself, not really a big fan of most fish, but I can appreciate people who enjoy it. Yeah, I mean, I don't have any of the gear. The captain provides all the bait and tackle and the boat and everything. I go out, I put the line in, and then hopefully I'm going to come back with a chest full of perch. Goblin of Gygaxanor is in with some wisdom. Howdy, Goblin of Gygaxanor. We still have campaigns every night, but Wednesday, waiting on artists to finish up on the Kickstarter books, always the way, and working on our own SRD-based 5e adjacent book. Everything in our game will be usable by 5e and 5e24 and Simulacrum players. Well, they do. I mean, Mage, you want to go fishing? You want to go fishing, Mage? But yes, greetings to you, Goblin of Gygaxanor. Yeah, other people's boats are tons of fun. Because you don't have to refuel it and maintain it and clean it and wax it and pay for the insurance and tags on it. And but when I was looking at the fishing charter prices, I will tell you, it does seem to be rather lucrative if you have a boat and you use it for business. A pleasure boat is absolutely a hole in the water into which you throw money, but you know, hopefully you get recreation and joy out of it. It would appear that being a charter captain is quite it's quite good. Oh, all right, Mage. Alka says, I copped the new Eberron book, some minor disappointments, that they barely touch on Warforged and no updates for Shifter or Changeling, but new species options like Gargoyle, Medusa, and Warg, loads of good campaign info. It's set in... Now, what is this? Is this something that Keith put out himself that's like 2024 compliant? Or what are you talking about with that, Alkahest? All right, so Keith was looking at this, said "Hold my beer," and made like an updated. Okay. So it's a 2024 Eberron, is what you're saying. The beer she was held. Okay. Now, in this book, if I were to have a very specifically about Droam, so the Frontier and Monster PCs, and one slinging duels. Well, I'll have to... Alkahest, if you have a link to it, because it's probably over on DM's Guild or Drive-Thru RPG, or it's kind of the same thing. Can you put a link to that over on our Discord in the Your Finds channel? Has a little magnifying glass, Your Finds. Yeah, thank you. Now, if I do have an issue, it's that if I didn't find it in this book, well, there is a... there is a character sheet. This is not photocopy friendly. Now, we might live in an age where people don't photocopy their character sheets out of their books anymore. But having this, which is makes it rather unsightly and difficult to write over, this is good for showing parts of a character sheet. This is bad for the character sheet, and there's not even one in the back. Now, we do live in an age where this is probably not an issue, or people didn't notice, or especially maybe even care. You know, everyone will be different. Because let me see if that was the case. It was just, I don't know, it felt a little shocking. Character sheet on 317. — 11 or 317 through 319. Not there. Let's check out page 11. Not there. Unless my backup copy doesn't have it included. I'd have to check my physical one. But we do have this open for reference. I'm not worried about the 2014 book just yet. We'll save this as a backup and we can use it for comparison. But for right now, we're going to be building a character on this style of character sheet. Just says, speaking of boats, an old ex of mine, her father's a renowned boat craftsman. He makes those luxury wooden boats that transfer billionaires from their yacht to shore when anchored. There's a wooden, they're called Lyman boats, Lyman, wooden boats. There's an old Lyman boat factory here in town, and you reminded me of me reminding you, Jisp. Well, Alcahest, do I have good news for you? Now, this is the old workshop character sheet that we used. And the one that we're going to be using is this form fillable one here. Now, this had to be made by a fan because, as far as I know, there's not one that's available, at least not behind a paywall. So that's why so here's an official, here's an official one. It's not form fillable, but you can see from the official non-form, the non-form fillable one. This non-profit fan work released for people who enjoy playing role-playing games was made, and you can see that there's it doesn't say Dungeons and Dragons. It just says it has a random number. It could have been any number, and we go from here. But you'll see that there's not that much difference. Yeah, this could be a 5th edition Vampire the Masquerade character sheet, Alcahest, and we're just doing a system comparison. I mean, what you think Wizards would pursue legal action and sue fans for creative works? Come on. Get out of here with that nonsense. So, while we're used to working with this character sheet from the 2014 version, let's make Alcahest. This is the real world, all right? Save that fantasy nonsense of things that would literally never happen for worlds of impossibility and improbability. This is the real world we're talking about, Alcahest. Now, anyway, let's get back to D&D. So we're going to be building on this form fillable sheet. And then we can see how it might transfer over to our old worksheet. And we can do a comparison that way. Now, there are a few differences from how we might normally build our character here. Much of this is the same, and I would like your all's help in determining some of the aspects of this character. But some of the numbers are going to change because we no longer have just 9 races in the player's handbook. Let's close this out and... Right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 10 because we are adding the Asamar and the Goliath because so adding Asamar brings us to 10. Half elves don't exist, and half orcs have been changed to orcs. And then Goliaths are in here too, and that was what? Because we have our normal 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So yeah, we have those are the same. So orcs became half orcs. We get rid of elf. All right, so that brings us to 8. We add Asamar and Goliath. That brings us to 10. One thing I really like is that for the mechanics of character creation, class is your first choice. I'm going to contradict you, and I don't like that being first on a character. I want to know who our character is before I ever worry about the powers of our character. That is my preference, and the way that I teach character creation may very well differ from how any of you do, and that's perfectly fine. We're allowed to have that difference. I understand why class comes first, because that's the thing a lot of people want, are the powers. I just wish it wasn't the case that there's more stress on the gimmies rather than who is this character, what does he or she believe, etc., etc. Obviously, you can choose everything ahead of time, but I love that the most impactful mechanical choice comes first in terms of how they laid it out. Says, or Gisp, I'm sorry, the smallest craft he makes costs $1.5 million. It takes 2 years to construct a single boat. The wood has to bend into shape naturally without the stress used in other and newer methods. No nails used. It's fascinating watching 1,000-year-old methods in a modern factory workshop. You write the backstory first. Says Gisp. Or Gisp, like gasp. Like gasp with an I. Gisp. Hard G. GIF, not GIF. GIF, not GIF. Gisp, not Gisp. Alka says that's fair. When I come at creating a character, the character is first in my head, but for the workflow of creation, class is first. Samu Bear, hello, I agree with you. I do, what is this character, then class second or third. Yep. I care first about who our character is, Then we can talk about what our character is, and then we can get into how does our character interact with the world. Background, race, class. Hey, Zulerpai. I think we're all living in the same realm of characters first. Talking about workflow, making that character exist on a sheet. Well, hey, and for Alcahest and others, this might be the very first time that you get to see our character creation process in action. Now, what we have in our usual randomizer, our prompt, all of this doesn't apply, and we'll get into whatever minutia. Now, let's follow the track, and if we derail, then okay, we'll see where that is and go from there. So I'll tell you what, Alcahest, why don't you get us going? Now, any of you can spend your channel points if you wish to lock in a particular aspect of the character you'd like to roll in chat with our dice rolling bot. I'm going to open up the viewer rewards. We're going to go to our chapo, our channel points. And I'm going to open up the queue for it. All right, but Alcahest, why don't you get us going? Will you roll a percentile die in chat? Exclamation point 1D100. And for those of you out there, Sumo or Sumu, I can call on you randomly if you're participating in chat as well. Stops on an 81. We have a male character. All right, now for our next choice. Now we have a D10 in the 2024. So in this case, Gisp, will you roll 1D10, please? Lands on a 3. I'm gonna jot this down. And we're gonna keep rolling along. We'll use our balanced odds. Zulerpai, could I get a percentile roll from you, please? Por favor. Exclamation point 1D100, Zulerpai. We might have lost Zulerpai. Sumo Bear. Oh, nope, there we go. Zulerpai gives us a 70. All right. Our very first character for 2024 is going to be Lawful Evil. Now, as for character level, I don't want to spend the entire evening making a level 20 character. We can practice leveling up. So, let's, I don't know. Let's go to 12, since that'll get a couple stat bumps in there, and we can explore that mechanic, okay? Pardon me. We're just going to say that we're making level 12. I'm not worried about rolling that right now. As for whether we take all ability score improvements or feats, feats are now baked into the 2024 edition. So that's not... It's kind of an option. It's the same thing but different. So I'm not going to worry about building a character that's just all stat bumps. We'll take a look at that. But these were things that we rolled in the 2014 version. Now, as for backgrounds, as you can see, I've been making some notes here. But for our backgrounds, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We have 16. We have 16 backgrounds. So let's do this. Sumo Bear. Can you roll, or in this case type, exclamation point 2D8. Exclamation point number 2, D is in doggo, number 8, no spaces. Alright, so we have an odd number, so we're going with the first 8 of the 16. And in that, we're choosing this. We're getting the second one. That's going to be an artisan. Of our first 8, we have 1, 2. So we have an artisan. Now it's a little woeful, but the backgrounds, I'll go to it here on 177. The backgrounds have a... Whoop. The backgrounds have a paragraph for... Hey, step into my office. Flavor, maybe a prompt. They woefully do not give you prompts for personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws. I adored personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws. Now, for many of you out there, if you've been playing for a while, maybe it's something you've always done yourself. Especially, though, for teaching the game or having new players get aboard and try and get into character, and especially for people like me who love presenting the possibilities that randomization can give you. That you can have a good character even if you're not optimal. We have built warlocks where charisma is the dump stat, and they work. You'll have a lot of fun role-playing them because we understand the character. There's not really anything of that. Now, we could go to the 2014 book. I'm just sad that as we take a look at the character sheets here, there's a place for background. This is a mechanical. It's a mechanical holder though. As we come down here, there. Oh, here's alignment. There is some history and personality. There is a point here for that. Though we don't quite have the... we don't quite have that which we do here in our usual workshop character sheet, where we'll put our 2 personality traits, our ideal, bond, and flaw, and we build our character off of these 5 points. Well, and, you know, ancillary to the other ones, too. So this will be a little bit different in how we go about it, but that's why we're here. I have to say the lack of PBF prompts is the biggest downgrade in this revision. Those are gone. I mean, I didn't use them often, but they were good for new people or when it didn't matter or when you wanted the random challenge. I like them. In single step, I'm also a fan of things like the 2014 Acolyte gave you a background feature like Shelter the Faithful. It was very fluffy, very roleplay. It really helped get you into the setting. In the 2024, that has been replaced by a feat. So in this case, you get Magic Initiate. Because, you know, who wants crummy old, you know, staying with other people of your faith, breaking bread with them, getting rumors from them, or, you know, relying on them in times of need, or rolling into a village and trying to assuage, you know, grief or something, when instead you could just get the Magic Initiate feat and mechanically you have one more toy to play with. No. Gisp. We rolled Artisan. I'm just using this as an example because it's right here. So I could talk about Artisan. This was just, it's right here. This also has the big flashy art so I can draw everyone's attention to it. Yeah, a lot more was put into the background, Brufros. All right, well, thank you for hanging out, Mage. Have a good night. So we don't really know about an ideal, bond, or flaw for our character. So passing over the rich and flavorful information, I guess let's just get into the dry mechanics. And for our first character for 2024, who is someone that hasn't rolled yet? Well, Brufros is here. Brufros, I want you to type exclamation point 1D12. All right, Mage. Lands on a 4. So alphabetically, we are making a druid. And now, which particular type of druid? Well, Mage, if you're here, can you give me a 1d4 roll in chat? If you're not, I'll choose someone else. But which type of druid are we making? Alright, Single Step Gaming, can you give me a 1d4 roll, please? Lands on a 1, and that is going to be a that's a Circle of the Land. So if we close this, not close that. If we close this, that is our first subclass here. All right, and then lastly, for the physical, the racial attributes here, the math isn't quite the same as I recall. There's not exactly notes. Yeah, it doesn't. Oh, I'm trying to show the camera. In the 2014, there were some different references, maybe about how long the like a Dragonborn would live, or how quickly it ages up, or things along those lines. If I recall correctly, the book just sort of hand waves it and says everyone kind of matures at the same rate, and there you go. So some of the flavorful stuff, even now, whether or not a lot of people used it, if we go to Dragonborn, here, there was some fluff notes. There's an excerpt from a book. It gives I don't know, a cultural note. You could use it or not, and it's fine if you don't. It offered names and some other things here too. The note that these are uncommon races has also been dropped. So there's not a ton of fluff. You get the little bit that's up here. And it leaves it, it leaves it open for interpretation. Played using the new rules at a local game store yesterday night. Made a monk, but never got to really use the features. Ongoing campaign, and I was a guest. It was mostly RP session after a big fight. Hey, you still showed up and played, and I hope you had fun for that, Brufros. Because ultimately, these are ROLE playing, even though I know how indulgent ROLL can be. So, about 5 to 7 feet tall. In this case, as we come over, Dragonborn are taller and heavier than humans, standing well over 6 feet and averaging almost 250 pounds. Your size is medium. There's a lot more things that are simply stated in this book. This is kind of open and wishy-washy. Maybe that's fine, because, I don't know, maybe no one ever played with the rules that were in here, and that's what looking at the hard data of D&D Beyond suggested to them, that people don't use this anyway. So it doesn't really matter what anything actually is. Which is, I can understand both takes on it. Personal preference. Yeah, well, hey, that's the one thing that they were firm on, Brufros, is Dragonborn don't have tails. So, all right. From the information that we have been able to gather, let's find out if... Well, I don't know. Let's explore our character. As we come over here, we're an artisan. Looks like we're going to get a bonus to strength, dex, and int. Let's make sure I'm doing this correctly. Background lists 3 of your character's ability scores. Increase 1 by 2 and another by 1, or increase all 3 by 1. None of these can raise a score above 20. You get a background feat. Skill proficiencies, tool proficiencies, and some equipment. Alright, so we can go 2 in 1, or we can spread it out. So now, unfortunately, every artisan has the same paragraph instead of those lovely randomized charts that offered. Like, for example, I'll bring it up here just to showcase the difference. I'll show you what they've taken from you. So over here is the Guild Artisan, which did come with some skill proficiencies and tools. In this case, so you get that. Language, one of your choice. Equipment, there you go. You had some guild business. This was your fun feature. This was the type of artisan you were that would give you, a focus. Your feature was guild membership, which this was a really fun. This was a really fun background background trait or whatever feature. Sorry. But then we came over here and we would roll for 2 personality traits. Hey, Zump. And we would roll for an ideal, bond, and flaw, because we would learn a lot more about who our character was through these traits. On one hand, I get not wanting to spend a whole printed page on just the background. On the other, backstory is important. I would rather prompt people with these charts to get them to think about it than to give a paragraph and have all artisans be the same. If you default to the paragraph, you don't have to. You could, Zulurpai. The 2 are compatible-ish, mostly. The 2 are mostly compatible-ish. So we could roll. We could roll here, but I feel like then I'm betraying the spirit of how do we build a character. But when I build a character out of the 2024 book, I feel like all I'm doing is writing down powers and math. And I'm not really getting anything about the character. So it feels a little hollow. I miss being able to say, oh, okay, so our character's flawed because we're all flawed. Which, this doesn't mention a character flaw, and I think all characters should be flawed. You all should run scuffed characters, because you're going to have way more fun doing that than this. Like, no flaws, everyone's fine. Everything's a Golden Horizon. We're all Saturday morning cartoon characters. You know, we'll never lose, blah, 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 blah. I'm not saying that this is like that feeling I got from Daggerheart. It's just... like, it's mechanics, and I guess you go to a rule book for mechanics, but there's no... I don't know. I'm niche because I randomize characters to teach this game. It's not that I can't think of a background for a character. I can. I have many, many, many times. It's just really sad that a lot of that flavor is gone. And that, you know, our... here's our history and personality. Right there. There we go. Compared to... here's our background. There's our personality traits, our ideals, bonds, and flaws. I'm the best of everything I do. And my mother told me so, proceeds to trip over his own feet. So, I think what we need to do, because the whole point of this was, you know, going into our workshop and doing things a little bit differently, doing things our way. That might be to sit down together and we can come up with some prompts to fill in on our workshop, on our time together. Because if Wizards isn't going to do it, then we will. We'll have some stuff here. Now, there's a lot of things about that in other books. You know, Xanathar's Guide to Everything, which I have upside down, which this copy needs a good home for any of you who are collectors. There's character building in here too, and we could always reference the 2014, but I suppose if we're going to make a clean break on something, let's use what we have, and we'll be creative. Because right now, I'm just looking at a pile of numbers. This is boring and uninspired. There's not really a challenge because everything is just given to me here. So... let's worry about history and personality, and let me make sure I didn't miss something. For all I know, I did. Let's check it out just to be safe. The 6 abilities: social interaction, exploration, combat, damage and healing, conditions, creating a character. I guess 33, create your character before it gets into mechanics. We'll check this real quick. And while, again, if for any of you just joining, I'm not salty about it, but the fact that this is not a photocopy friendly, it's not a photocopy friendly page. I don't know how many people did that in the modern age, you know, since maybe the 3rd edition books. It's still just... Anyway. Start by talking with your dungeon master about the type of D&D game they plan to run. If the DM draws inspiration from Greek myth, for example. Choose a character sheet. You'll record the main details of your character on a sheet. Throughout this chapter, we use the term character sheet. Yep. A digital character sheet like the one on D&D Beyond or plain paper. Choose whichever style works for you, and then embark on creating a character. Session 0, which is, you know, that's always fine to talk about. Some DMs start a campaign with a session 0, an initial gathering focused on creating characters and setting expectations, including topics to avoid as well as those to embrace. A session 0 provides a great opportunity to talk to the other players and decide whether your characters know one another, how they met. Choose a class, determine an origin. How did the characters spend years leading up? Who are the characters' ancestors? You can also choose your character's languages. Choose a class, and we're not going to do that first because classes are boring. I know that this is the main, like, this is where a lot of us have fun. They're boring. I'm setting that off to the side. That's not as interesting as who our character is. That should be first and foremost. A bard is going to be a bard. I'm not worried about it. It can sit in the corner for a little bit longer. Because any other combination can be a bard, because a bard is a bard is a bard is a bard. However, not every bard is going to be the person that we are playing as. That's where the unique that's where the unique aspects come from. 2 components of an adventure's origin: background and species, or race in this case. They decided to change that in this edition. Together, these elements suggest your character's early experience and family origin before taking up the adventuring life and learning the capabilities of a class. This should have been first before class in the book. Even in this state, without having any roleplay prompts. Members of most races live for about 80 years, with exceptions noted in the text about the species. Regardless of lifespan, members of all species or races reach physical maturity at about the same age. Your characters can be any age that isn't beyond their species' normal lifespan. This is what's weird. And I said this in the initial review. There's a lot of loosey-goosiness to things, which is fine. But then when you get a hard rule written out like this, it feels like I hit a speed bump, or it's really glaring. So, like, this isn't some egregious sin in a rule book or anything. It's just, I don't know, it's weird. Looks like it's in describe appearance and personality. They have you roll dice based on if that stat is low or high on your character. Wait, what are we talking about? So what my feeling of this is more of, hey, build your character now rather than playing a backstory. Oh, thank you, Simon. Thank you for, that's a subscription over on YouTube. Exclamation point YouTube to see past workshops and things there. My feeling of this is more of, hey, build your character now rather than playing a backstory. The dice will give you a backstory. It looks like it's in describe appearance and personality. They have you roll dice based on that, if that stat is low or high in your character, for the roleplay prompts of what your character's strengths or flaws. What is this referring to, Brufros? If I skipped over something or missed something, please let me know. Or are you talking about a different system? Where is this section you're talking about? Looks like it's in describe appearance. There's a history and personality section on the character sheet. There is, I mean, there's an alignment traits, personality traits by alignment. Backgrounds in older D&D books don't include ability score adjustments. If you're using a background from an older book, adjust your ability score. Yep, that's fine. Similarly, races in older books include ability score increases. So, suggested standard array by class, and we're going to ignore this. We will use the standard array, but we're going to ignore this. This is stuff, so in the 2014, this is one of the last things that we did, even after class, because we can't drop the engine in until we have the frame. And I didn't worry about the stats of a character until we knew who the character was. Describe appearance and personality. Roll a d4 to do flaws and strength based on your stats. Ability scores are an essential part of the rules, but they can be more than that. Once you've assigned your ability scores, give some thought to what those scores might say about your character's appearance and personality. I am so much at odds. I am so much at odds with this philosophy. I understand it. It's not that this doesn't work. But this is putting ROLL playing ahead of ROLE playing. I feel like these should come after we know who our character is. What does our character think? How does our character act? What is in the heart and soul of our character that then goes on to be physically expressed because of the nature of this person? Which we can go back and say, maybe, hey, Bluejoy. Which, you know, we can go back and say that, well, one could have influenced the other. But if we're building off of a character's personality first, then, you know, yeah, Brewfrost. Which I can say for I mean maybe for newcomers it keeps things simple and streamlined, and maybe even for old timers, if they already have all the touchy feely fluff of a character, this gets straight into it. But I don't want to teach character building I feel like I almost feel like this is this is like going up to a woman with large breasts, and like that's what makes her a beautiful person or a smart person or an emotionally intelligent person, or that's what dictates the character of that woman is the size of her con scores. You're miffed about the Warlock changes. I don't know if too much was really changed about Warlocks, Brufros, unless I'm not remembering something correctly. And I get, if I was completely new, I had no idea about how to express myself as a fantasy character or something, I can see where this is a start because it's easier to look at numbers and then go from there. But I don't know. Am I somehow old-fashioned where I go just because you have big boobs doesn't mean that you're a good person? Or or just because you have big boobs you're hot or not hot? Am I the crazy one in the room? Am I weird for that? Brufros, not if you have a high enough strength, it doesn't. Come on. So, I get this. I get this. This is all very... I've never played a role-playing game before, and I welcome absolute newcomers. You know, like, I'm a baby, I don't know what this is, I'm going to put it in my mouth, I don't know, I have 30 feet of movement, what is this? So, I understand this. This isn't bad. This isn't bad. This is great for first-timers. Just to, alright, well... I'm playing a barbarian, and maybe I'm not thinking about the depth of Kronk the Barbarian's motivation to pursue a life of stoicism. It would be nice to also include that as a consideration, such as what you might get from... like the personality traits, ideal bonds, and flaws. Depends on the strength. I'm super strong, but it's all in my legs. Big boobs still hurt like hell if your core strength is shit. Well, Bluejoy, according to whatever, like schools, like whatever, like junior highs everywhere. Like one way to build up that back muscle. Like Bluejoy, can you touch your elbows behind your back? I mean, if you can do that, then, I don't believe you until I see you do it, but... apparently, if you can touch your elbows behind your back, you got what it takes. So... That's what all the guys in the locker room say, anyway, you know? This seems more awkward than way back when I watched character building on the stream. So Zulerpie, what I would do on the with the 2014 is we would come over here... And maybe I did. um, think of it as vesting your class abilities, casting, and are all granted by relationship with patron. You don't just get the special goodies till level 3. Imagines half the chat getting shoulder pain trying to touch elbows behind their backs. They say they're trying to streamline and make character creation a straightforward process and make it easy for players to quickly move through it. I agree that this is streamlined. I agree it's streamlined. And maybe I'm just not with it and I'm behind the times because there's a lack of personality. Or my personality is dictated by how girthy my constitution is. Sorry, I missed a couple. I was laughing and having fun. Coming at it from my angle, I don't necessarily see classes as Sturm and Drang, but the mechanical package that enables the character I envision to do whatever neat things I see them to do in my mind's eye. And also, Rastafunk, hi, it's good to see you. A mystical flying spaghetti monster has appeared. Yes, we have been blessed. Sumo Bear suggests if any of you are suffering back problems from an off center of gravity, you can use your intelligence to lift them. And welcome in, Virtual GM. How you doing? What was going on in your corner of Twitch? If you're having severe back pains, you're supposed to check notes, stretch. Not sure if I said it right. If I have back itches, I scratch. I do the bear thing. I'll just go up to a door frame and I'll just rub. I'll rub my back on the door frame to get the spot. So welcome in. Can I get a shout out to the Virtual GM coming in with a party of 8? Thank you for doing so. We're comparing a baseline for building characters in the 2024 edition of the Player's Handbook to the 2014, and so far using our 2014 based character builder, and I'll bring that up here. This was a series of random rolls that would help us determine who it was that we're playing and what he or she does, how he or she does it. We're seeing how compatible this was, and we have a couple roles locked in. But we're also discovering that character building, at least compared to my spirit of character building, the way that I've been teaching people to make characters in 5th edition, not just mechanically. I'm tapping the book. You can't see it right now. Not just mechanically here, but the spirit of creating a character is different in 2024. And so we've been having a discussion about the differences, about the importances of learning who your character is before worrying about all the goodies and the bells and the whistles, which tends to be how I teach character building on the channel. Because we're here to role play. We're here to get into the shoes and the mind or the bra of a character. and understand that person, that life that has gone before and will unravel before us, and how those decisions and how those influences shape us to then manifest ourselves in the world through our cool powers. And they're awesome toys to play with. And this book gives us a lot more toys to play with. I wish that the book stressed more on who is playing with the toys. If you are an experienced role player, maybe you don't need anything like that. I really enjoyed the 2014 background feat, like the ideals, bonds, flaws, and personality traits, to help prompt an idea of who the character was. And many of us might very well play with that idea already in mind. So if you're playing for a while, this could very well be streamlined. You say, you know what, I never needed it, and there's a lot of other things I enjoy about the game, and you do just want to get into it. Or maybe you're super brand new, and you're having, I don't know, you don't feel comfortable getting into these ideas of someone who might live or think differently than you do. And so it's just easier to focus on, all right, I'm the barbarian. My name is, Big McLarge Huge. And, the fighter in the party is Slab Bulkhead. And we're just going to go around and use our cool powers to make stuff stop moving. That is D&D. That is definitely a way to play D&D. Though I would always hope or wish that Big McLarge Huge and Slab Bulkhead could also have these character flaws that are compelling. Or if they want to be mechanized, that is how you earn your inspiration points. That's how you encounter and even overcome role-playing incidents, role-playing opportunities. And you grow as a character. Pardon me. I'm not tired. I'm back to broadcasting, right? It's been a weekend, and now I'm talking, and I had some bacon-wrapped stuffed jalapenos for dinner. Oh my gosh, those were good. I had some bacon-wrapped stuffed jalapenos, and Blue Joy, they're good. If you have a Sam's Club, they were in the same section in Sam's Club where they have their chicken salad and enchiladas, cream cheese. I think it was cream cheese. If so, it ended up getting slightly baked. I think it was more of a cream cheese. Yeah. So jalapenos cut in half. Cream cheese wrapped in bacon. All right. Tell you what, we've been doing this for about an hour. We've compared and contrasted some design philosophies for character creation. When we come back, let's move ahead with 2024, and we'll see what we have. And we'll have a conversation about that. And maybe by going through the 2024 methodology, it makes it easier to talk about the background characteristics on the back end. And not just about the back end of the character, but whatever. So let's get up and take a break. Oh, all right, Bane. Thank you. I'll give that a look, and I can open that up. I'll be back in just a little bit, everyone. Okay.